Hey, so we love ramen. We fell in love with it about 3 years ago when we went to Japan, and we have been chasing it ever since.
You know what we should do right now? Go get a bowl of that ramen from downtown over at the whatever that place is. So part of this ramen adventure is educating ourselves on what's out there, what it's like, what we're up against. And we decided to stop by Kumagoro here in downtown Anchorage. They've got these pictures of ramen that look pretty decent. I don't know if you can see those pictures, but a lot of times when we're out of town looking for good ramen, we go off of the pictures. You can just tell by the look of the broth if it's gonna taste really good or not. And that's not an exact science per se, but it has worked out really well for us. So based on the look of this stuff, it could be pretty good, which if it's good at all, it would be the best stuff in Anchorage, because everything else we've tried has been so far off from what we would call good that it doesn't even count as ramen. So we picked up some to go, just one order. We're gonna take it home, try it out, see what it's all about.
Got nothing.
I mean, I was a kid once, but I do wonder what goes on in the mind of a child. There's all kinds of strange behavior happening.
All right, I wish I would have paid better attention in my Japanese classes in elementary school, because I couldn't understand what she was saying on the phone, and I was like, we'll just take your best ramen, and it's a seafood ramen.
Oh.
But I put in an order for some miso ramen, so we're waiting. But this will be a first. We've never had a seafood ramen.
Well, we're at least supporting a local business.
Yeah. And the
I'm just gonna try pork with anyway. Looks like there's some ground pork in here too. I can't say this is bad. Everything is just sort of okay. I could see people enjoying this.
As some of you know, it takes a lot of time to make a quality ramen broth. So we're gonna attempt to get all the ingredients and make it. We're heading over to our local Asian market called New Sagaya, and pretty sure they'll have everything we need.
What are we getting at New Sagaya?
So the main ingredient for broth is pig trotters, which are pig's feet. So
That's weird to think about.
I know.
I don't like that.
here's our ingredients for ramen. Probably the grossest thing that you kind of just have to put your mind past: pig feet. We have 3 pounds of this. That is going to be the basis for our broth. We got some pork belly back here, green onion, regular onion, ginger, garlic. These are mushrooms for topping. And we also got some seaweed for topping, pickled bamboo shoots for topping, and bean sprouts for topping. Then we've got some mirin cooking wine, some soy sauce, some sake, tasty noodles, bonita flakes, and then boiled and dried anchovy. it is 6:20 in the evening, and typically you would do this at like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. But we're having some friends over for dinner tomorrow night and want to have this as our meal. So we're not 100% sure, but we're probably gonna do a little bit of a all-nighter sleepover on the couches here in the kitchen and keep an eye on it, because this is gonna reduce down and we're gonna have to keep adding a little more water, and it's an open flame for the next 12 hours. So yeah, round one of the Williams ramen experiment is underway. All right, so it is almost 24 hours later from when we first started the broth, and it has been quite the process. We knew that it would be like this, but what time did we go to bed?
3 in the morning.
We stayed up till 3 a.m. So we did about 9 hours, and then we took out all the bones and put it in the crock pot with some water so that we could go to sleep and not have an open flame going. And so that's been going for about 12 hours. And so our plan is to throw that in with what we got last night and hopefully have a very tasty, rich broth.
Okay, it's the next day. We had the ramen last night. We want to real quick share how it was and what our thoughts were on our very first attempt at making ramen. The broth itself turned out really good. For tonkatsu ramen broth, it had that dark, clear, glistening look to it that it's supposed to have, right?
Mm-hmm. And it was really good, but it did have a sweeter taste, which I think is because we put a little too much of that tare.
Mm.
And so I think for next time we would maybe go less on that.
That's one of the parts where we had no clue how to gauge any of that. We could have tasted the tare by itself and tasted the broth and still not know what ratio they should be in for the best overall broth. And that's one of those trade secrets that you just have to learn the hard way. And once you know what you're doing and how to repeat that process, well, then you have a product that you can serve consistently and have it be awesome every time. The noodles, I think when they first came out of the water, they were cooked just right, but we probably let them sit in there a little too long. They were, I would call them slightly overdone by the time we actually started eating.
Could have been cooked less and strained more. I don't know if you've seen ramen videos or seen people cooking them. They get those little baskets and then they swing it down like that to get all the liquid out. So you have a real dry noodle. And we didn't do that because we didn't have that equipment.
The pork belly was crazy good.
Yeah.
But we noticed that after a few minutes of sitting in the hot broth while we were eating, it did start to toughen up. It definitely seemed like the water toughened up the pork a little bit. When we actually sat down in the bowl, it looked amazing.
Yeah.
And it definitely looked like the real deal that you get in a restaurant, which was really cool. That was a lot of fun to see how that turned out. From start to finish, it was 24 hours of work. And the first day we went to bed at 3 a.m., but I've never been more excited to lose sleep over something. It was a really fun experience. We've been dreaming about this for a long time because we've been enjoying ramen for years now, and we don't have anything good that's in Anchorage, so we knew we had to make it ourselves if we were gonna have good ramen. It was a lot easier than I thought it would be. My thought around ramen was always that it was a super secret recipe to make magic in a bowl like that. But it turns out it's pretty basic, and the information is definitely out there if you dig for it. And if we're gonna do this again, I definitely think we need to streamline the process. We were kind of all over the place. We were doing dishes constantly, transferring stuff from one pot to another, and having to improvise a little bit with ingredients and techniques and cook times and all kinds of stuff. So definitely a cool learning experience, and I'm feeling next time we do it, it'll be a lot better.
Being total newbies, not really knowing what we're doing other than extensive hours of research on YouTube, I feel like we knocked it out of the park.
There are so many variables that we could change for the next go around. It's gonna be probably a long road of experimenting and trying different things out before we find what we really, really love. One of the interesting parts that stuck out to me was we bought the pig feet and then we decided to cut them into quarters, and didn't know how to do that because it's a foot and there's bones in there and really tough skin. They weren't all the way frozen, but they were pretty cold.
They were thawed, kind of.
They were kind of thawed, yeah. But yeah, so I ended up taking a knife and a hammer and basically beating a knife through the feet and totally destroyed the knife. But if we go and do this again, I don't want to destroy another knife. I don't know what we're gonna do. We thought of maybe going to get a hacksaw from Home Depot or something and using that to cut through the feet or the bones.
Or we did find a $120 meat cleaver from our local kitchen store here.
Yeah, that thing was
Which
so
was
nice.
awesome.
We didn't buy it. We're still on a budget, and well, here's the thing. If we got the meat cleaver, basically I'm swinging an axe trying to chop these feet up in my kitchen, and I'm pretty sure feet parts would be flying all over the place. And
you
that
might,
thing is dangerous. A
might
big old
chop off your finger in the meantime.
Well, that's what we were talking about, is you can't grab the foot and just go like that because that's way too dangerous. So you kind of have to just let it sit there, and if you just bam hit it, boom, there goes all the parts everywhere. And I think we're gonna go with the hacksaw.
So there you have it, our thoughts on our very first attempt at making ramen. Overall, 2 thumbs up for the experience and taste.
I'm giving it 2 thumbs up. That was the best ramen
okay.
we've ever eaten in Anchorage, Alaska, by far. Yeah, I would say 2 thumbs up for the experience. And then I'm giving the ramen flavor and quality and all that 2 thumbs up for home cooks who've never done it before.
Yeah, nice work. Let us know down in the comments if you've ever attempted ramen, because we would love to hear some feedback maybe on what we did right or wrong, or if you've made it before and can give us some tips on how to make it better.
But yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.